Well guys, we're cleaning out the work bus today and getting ready to pick up a large piece of furniture that I bought at the thrift store yesterday. I found a really cool piece that I think will work good in our workshop. And just like that, we're back with the furniture. It's got a cool like gothic theme to it, and I just thought it was pretty neat. It's pretty solid. A lot of real wood, real plywood, and plenty of storage. And while it looks too fancy for a workshop, we're gonna have a fancy workshop. And there's one pane of glass, a panel of glass missing from that door. So we'd have to get some replacement glass, but no big deal. This thing was super heavy and it was a bit of a struggle to get it into the bus. Hopefully we can get it back out. So we pulled the bus along the side of our back ramp, and now we're gonna block up this ramp door so that it's kind of a loading dock. That'll do. What?
I don't know.
Before it pops off, let's get this under it.
This is where it's most comfortable. Really push it through.
Toward the wall. Ooh, okay. Okay, ready?
Yeah. Whew.
Oh, this is easy.
Okay.
Just get it in there.
Flat is fine.
Yeah.
Not really.
It's just, it's at a nice height. I can slide it right over onto it. Oh, my finger.
That worked out perfect with the height of those blocks and the wood.
Yeah. Well guys, today is an exciting day for me because I finally get to assemble my tool hutch. I've been trying to get organized in here for a long time, and every time I look at tool chests and organizers, I'm always kind of blown away by the price. For example, DeWalt makes a tough case toolbox set, and they have a little drawer unit with just two little drawers, little plastic thing, and they want like $130 for it, for a little toolbox. So with that in mind, when I was at the thrift store recently and I spotted this hutch, and I said, wow, this could make an awesome tool cabinet. So I paid $215 for all of this storage, which I think is a good deal for a solid wood cabinet. This is going to be my main tool area. So over the last week, I've been working on this a little bit slowly. The first thing I did was remove the glass shelves. Because I just don't trust myself putting tools on these and having them shatter. So we're going to put these aside. And now ideally, I don't want to modify this cabinet. It's a very cool piece, and I want it to stay flexible. I don't want to make anything too permanent where I feel like I'm ruining the piece and making it unusable for any alternative use in the future. So what I want to do is just replace it with a wooden shelf right on the same hangers. I'm not going to change anything. So I bought one of these 3/4 inch thick project panels. This one is 12 inches by 3 feet long. So I got to trim it down a bit, but it should work perfectly fine. We're just under 3 feet in here. And the original glass shelves, they were exactly 12 inches, so this will match perfectly. Ideally, I would stain it to match. I don't have a stain that will match this cabinet, but maybe we can whip something up. Let me test it out before I commit to this.
I think it would be great.
I'm almost ready to start finishing these. I'm creating a tung oil blend of dark tung oil and regular tung oil. I'm trying to get it dark enough that it kind of matches the cabinet. We'll see. I think I'll stop right there. I'm using tung oil because it's super durable, completely waterproof, easy to apply, easy to repair. This brush is falling apart everywhere. I'm sure this won't match the cabinet completely, but at least it won't be raw pine. This is a little thicker than I'd like. Yeah. Yeah. These shelves are looking good. I know it's not a perfect match, but they're oiled. Now we can put them in here. We'll get rid of these glass ones. I won't get rid of them. We'll just put them aside. Oops. Actually, these match better than I expected. Alright, so we've upgraded the cabinet with wood shelves. And I also have this one for the top here. As you can see, the shelves, they look good in here. They almost match, even with that tung oil mix that I made. So that worked out good. I just started throwing tools in here to get them out of my way, but I'm still in the process. But I just wanted to show you guys how that's working out. Now this main center area is the area I want to focus on. I wanted to show you a little bit of prep work I did beforehand, and what I did was I pre-drilled some holes in this top shelf, and right now I have screws in there just kind of sitting, and I did countersink them so they're flush with the surface of the shelf. So I'm trying to make sense of all this for you. But in here, I knew I wanted to hang my power tools, especially my handheld tools like this. So I knew I wanted some kind of rack. I looked on Amazon and they have a ton of tool rack options, a lot of great stuff. But I found the one specifically that was going to work for my needs. This one. Well guys, here's the rack, not complete. This little metal shelf is supposed to go on top, gets bolted on, but I'm not using this. I bought this shelf because of this, because I saw how this attached to the top, and I said if I got rid of this shelf, I could use these mounting holes and mount this right to the bottom of my wooden shelf in the hutch. By doing that, I have a double storage rack, very clean looking, and I don't have to attach anything to the back wall of the cabinet. This means no modification to the cabinet itself, only have to hook it to my wood. This set came with 5mm hardware, so I wanted to stick with that, and I bought some 5mm bolts that were a little bit longer than these, so that I can make it all the way through my wooden shelf. I'm going to put this in. I thought about just screwing this to the shelf with some regular screws, but I thought bolts going through would be stronger. Okay, there it is. Now the reason that I chose this rack not only was because of how it can attach at the top, but was also because of the depth of the rack. A lot of racks are too short, and I wanted to make sure I had depth, and that's why I installed it forward. See, you might think to install it so it's flush with the back of the cabinet, but I put it as far forward as I could, because if I want to stick something in there that's longer, for example, you know, a drill that might stick out, I don't want it hitting the back of the cabinet, and this just gives me more tool freedom of what I can hang in here, I believe. So that's why I put it kind of flush with the front and space behind there. So this so far is looking good, very successful. I've had to do no modification to the cabinet. And in fact, I like that rack so much, I got 2 of them. The question is, can we get it in? Done. Check it out. The only concern I have is with all this loaded up hanging from this one shelf, will it be strong enough, or will this shelf bow? If it bows, I can add support. I'm not worried about that, so don't worry. And the other question might be, will these side supports in the cabinet hold all that weight? And they should, because I checked them out, and these side pieces of wood, they're held on with some solid wooden dowels. They're not just nailed in. And those wooden dowels are pretty strong. They have a high shear strength, so this should be fine for tools. I guess we can just put the tools in here and see how it works. Let's give it a try. I know a jigsaw can just sit on the shelf, but might as well hang it. Got my big impact. I'll probably put this here. I don't know if that should hang upside down. We'll see. Don't forget the cable stapler. Got another drill. That's my Atomic series. Oscillating tool. I'll hang that down here. Grinder. Does it fit? Oh, it's snug. I'll have to think about that one. I don't think I would typically hang a reciprocating saw, but it works. Now I can't really hang a circular saw in here, so I built this quick. This is made for function and not so much looks. I did match it to the shelves with the oil, but basically if I have extra saw blades, I can put them right in here. You can see there's a pocket in there for saw blades. I think I'll put it up here for now, so it can fit on the top shelf, and then this can sit right on it. So it's just a saw holder. My stud and joist drill. Obviously isn't gonna hang. I mean, it probably could. This thing's heavy, so I'm gonna throw this on the top shelf. I have a longer reciprocating saw. I'll throw that up there too. We're getting a little bit of sag. A little bit of sag. This is my old Impact. I'll throw it in here, but it's pretty worn out. It honestly doesn't really drive anymore. The impact mechanism is worn out. Impact. Maybe I'll put these next to each other. I have a DeWalt stapler that I picked up, and even that could hang in here. Actually does really well in there, but for now, I'm going to keep this one down below. I think that's it. Holds everything nicely, looks good, and has room for expansion because there's always new tools in the future. I wanted to make sure I didn't just build something that could hold what I have. I see this mistake a lot. You build for what you have, and then the next time you get something, you have nowhere to put it. So we got plenty of room for expansion. Looks perfect. I got a little bit of sag in the shelf. Of course, there's a lot of weight on one piece of wood, but it's actually not bad at all. And like I was saying, I was thinking about building something right here just to help support the shelf, and maybe I'll do that later. I decided to take the grinder off the shelf because it's so fat. I just didn't like it. It just wasn't right. Not a big deal. Over here, we have just miscellaneous. Got my Makita tools. On this side, I still have to organize my Festool sander that I keep to remind me of how bad Festool is. Fit perfectly in here, like perfect fit. So I'm going to leave it there. Miscellaneous down here, another router, some odds and ends, and more odds and ends. This is really handy right here. This is how I know, for example, that I needed a 5mm. It has a female thread, male thread on either end. And that way I know what bolt size I have, and I don't have to bother bringing a bolt with me to the store. That's how I bought the hardware for that shelf. Now down below we have a ton of storage, and it's kind of a work in progress, but I put all my nails down here because boxes of nails are heavy. So on the bottom shelf where it can hold the most weight, makes sense. I got some air nailers in here, miscellaneous tools, my Bosch sander. Over here, various air tools which have their own cases, just need a place to go. Air tools. And on this end it's going to just be more nailers. I'm going to put my battery nailers in here. I might make a little rack for them to hold them in slots, but we'll see how that's going to fit. These also have drawers in them. So I threw all my brad nails in there. And on this side, I got some miscellaneous Craig jigs that I can't wait to use on some upcoming projects. So, good organization. So there's my tool hutch setup, more or less. Guys, it's going to change over time, but you get the point. I know some of you guys were disappointed to see this nice hutch in here, but you got to understand these tools are valuable and they're important to everything that we do around here. So we want to take care of them, and we think it's fitting to have something nice for them, something nice in the workshop. And it makes me happy when I see this. This is pleasing. I love the shape of it, the style of it. It's pretty cool. Actually, before I go, I think I do want to fix this sag. So what I did was just cut a leg the same height as from the base to the bottom of that wood shelf, and I pre-drilled some holes in it. I'm going to go ahead and stain this to match the shelves, but it's going to go right back there. It's going to support the shelf, and we're going to screw the metal racks into it. Well, the oil is still wet, but it's mostly absorbed, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in. I'm going to use these big long screws that came with the shelves. This is what they want you to use to hold it to the wall. They're actually pretty nice. I'll use them. Well guys, look back here. We got this 2x2 sitting under the shelf, attached to these brackets on the top and bottom, and coming down here resting on the bottom of the shelf. And it took the sag completely out of the shelf, and it's like very, very rock solid now. These are not going anywhere. You can just see how stable they are. Sometimes with projects like this, you just got to go with the flow and build it as it comes. No problem. Perfect.